Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade, and today we're going to be taking a look at a combination pattern trade here on gold. Just got triggered in here, 1183.1. Let me get my stop in place here. I'm actually going to go with an aggressive stop, 79.2 down here. And the first target's going to be up here at 90.3, and the second target's going to be up here at 96.6. Now, I'm only in long two contracts on this one because the trade does require relatively heavy risk. The low of that candle, 79.3, you can go 79.21, somewhere in there. Just as long as you're below that area. Technically, you should be below this area, but then it requires an even bigger stop size. So I'm just looking at that little intermediate swing back to the upside there. So right now we're long 83.1, looking to take one contract off at 90.3. If we can get that filled, we're looking at 72 ticks. Relatively large move higher. It's definitely not the smallest move in the world. If we get to the next area here, again I'm long 83.1, we're looking at the 200% target up here at 96.6. So we're looking at 135 tick secondary target. So really, really big trade in this sense. And again, the reason why I'm only taking two contracts is because it requires a 40 tick risk just to go in. So we can't really risk much more than that. Long at 83.1, looking for the first target, 90.3, second target, 96.6. Now, the way that this is kind of setting up is, like I was saying, a combination setup. Earlier this morning, we had this big spike higher. And typically I like to monitor those areas just to see what's happening. And we tagged that area, and we did reject off. There was a nice little short trade that you could have taken there. I say little, these really big ranges. But there's a nice little short trade that you could have taken there back down. Now, when we got back down into this area here, that was kind of the previous support area, and you can see that. I mean, we bounced there. We kind of got stuck around this area. We got and hit that area again, and then we popped right back up. So that gives us kind of a heads up that, hey, we're sticking to these highs. We did respect it initially, but there's a likelihood now that we're going to come and just break right through that area and push back up to another, hopefully, one of those legs up. Now, the way that it's setting up at the moment, I took the aggressive entry long at 83.1. You'd technically be wanting to wait for a break of this wedge. That's kind of the wedge pattern itself if you're trading that setup at this area. So if you wait for a close outside of this wedge, that's the entry long. I took the aggressive one at the break of that previous swing and just looking to the long side here. So taking a little bit of heat, but we'll give it some time. This one may take a little while. We are looking at relatively huge targets here. If we can get both of those filled, though, we're looking at 72 and 135 ticks. It's 207 ticks to the upside. So we'll be back in a little bit, hopefully, and we'll see if we can start hitting some of those targets to the upside. All right, we're back. Coming in close to our target here, I wanted to pull up a time in sales just to show you guys what kind of we're seeing right now. We're getting these huge blocks in volume, 50 contracts, 40 contracts, huge blocks of 10s. I mean, just there's volume coming in all over the place. And these are all, I have this filtered just to lots of 5 and higher, and we're just smashing through these levels right now. We actually bumped way past our target. I got filled up at 91.0, so it slipped me a little bit in my favor, and that's just because there probably weren't any contracts to be sold at 90.4 or no buyers. We had a big kind of gap push higher there. Now, usually when that happens, that means that not only are the buyers aggressive, but they're aggressive to a degree that's almost kind of scary. Now, we got our first target filled. Let me put my stop to break even here. And because of the range in this, you could probably just go underneath this candle by a little bit here and then just looking for a continued push higher. So my stop right now is 85.2. I got filled a little bit better, so I actually got 78 ticks on that push up. So not too bad there. So 78 so far. The next contract's going to be taken off at 96.6, looking for 135 more. So that means that we're looking at 213 now instead. But this is just a gargantuan move to the upside, and it's kind of setting up to be exactly what we saw back there. Just a big pop higher, and then maybe a little bit of consolidation. This one is a little bit more continued. You'll notice this previous one here back at 5 o'clock, that happened all in one shot, right? I mean, it was just this big push higher, and all in one candle. This one is going, 4, 5, 6 candles to the upside. So this one's a little bit more of a sustained move to the upside. So we're in long. I mean, we're over 110 ticks in profit now. Very big move up. And look at that. Just these huge pops higher here. Now, because we came so close, I don't want to. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I was going to put my stop back at where my last target was taken out, but we got that next target filled. So we got filled up at 96.6. Beautiful trade, all in one candle, big spike higher there after that wedge breakout. Now again, I entered in a little bit aggressively with a break of that previous swing up here, and that's why my entry was there. Now, if you wanted to wait for that wedge breakout, you got the close right there. That's your entry there, or the conservative entry above that candle. You got a lot of entry opportunities to catch this. It's really hard to miss this kind of setup here, especially with that big spike. We tested it, held those highs, pushed back up, got it. I mean, all these things stacking up in the same place here. So beautiful move higher. Would have been nice to get in more contracts, but unfortunately, it's too big of a move. I say that we just banked 213 ticks on the way up, so I'm not going to be too upset. But that's going to be the trade for today. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.